Have you ever wondered if fairies, those magical creatures of legend and lore, have a more sinister side? Contrary to popular belief, they are not always the innocent, benevolent beings we often imagine. Dive into the darker depths of fairy folklore. It's a world filled with enchantment and danger, where fairies are not just harmless winged creatures, but beings with complex personalities and sometimes malevolent intentions. Take the tale of the Changeling, for instance. It's a story that has terrified parents for generations. Fairies, it was believed, would sneak into homes, steal away human infants, and replace them with one of their own. The fairy child would grow sickly and weak, while the human child would be raised among the fairies, never to return. Then there's the chilling story of the fairy ointment. A human midwife was called to assist a fairy woman in labor. After a successful delivery, the fairy mother handed the midwife a special ointment to apply on her baby's eyes. The midwife accidentally got some ointment on one of her own eyes, and from that day she could see fairies everywhere. When the fairies discovered this, they blinded her in the ointed eye, punishing her for her unintended sight. And who could forget the tale of the fairy rings? These naturally occurring rings of mushrooms have long been associated with fairies. Folklore tells us that fairies dance within these rings, and woe betide any human who dares to join them. Those who step into a fairy ring may be forced to dance with the fairies until they collapse from exhaustion or even madness. To summarize, the world of fairies is not all sparkle and light. There's a darker side to these mystical creatures, a side that is often overlooked. They are not just the innocent winged beings of our imagination, but complex entities with their own rules and punishments. The tales of the Changeling, the fairy ointment, and the fairy rings serve as chilling reminders of the potential cruelty of fairies. Remember, fairies are creatures of folklore, born from the imaginations of our ancestors. They are a reflection of the human psyche, embodying both our hopes and our fears. So the next time you think of fairies, remember their darker side, and tread carefully in the realms of the unseen.